In today's video, I'm going to share with you my 5 best-selling paint colours. Now, some of you know that I work with a manufacturer here in the UK to design my own paint colours that are then put out under that brand with my name on. And I asked them what the top 5 best-selling colours were, and it was actually quite surprising. I'm going to share and swatch those colours with you today. Don't worry if you don't own these paints or want to own these paints, you'll still get a whole load of information. I think it's really useful to see what other people want to add to their palettes. And we're going to go backwards from 5 through to 1, and we'll finish with my best-selling colour. I don't know how many of these have sold, it's been so many. It's a colour I'm really proud of, so let's get started. Number 5 is a colour that I designed to capture that beautiful autumn glow that you get in foliage, so it's a landscape colour, but of course you can use any of these colours for anything you like. Number 5 is autumn foliage. Now, some of the colours you see today will be in little pots like this. These are just manufacturer's samples, and some of them will be in tubes, but they're, interchangeable. Autumn foliage is a colour that was designed for my shadow set. So I have 3 sets, and all of the colours you'll see today come from 2 of those sets, because the first set is a split primary set. In other words, it's made from colours that you would find like ultramarine and permanent rose. It's a starter set. That's not to say I didn't have a little bit of influence over the type of colours, particularly the Payne's grey and the raw umber. I wanted very specific types of pigments, but we're looking today at colours that I have mixed. So this is autumn foliage. You can see it goes on quite dark. I wanted an amber colour that would show sunlight in trees, and you see as I water it down we get more of those yellow golden hues come through. So I'll read you a review of this colour. You can find all of these reviews on the Jackman's Art Materials website. I'll just give the first names here, but those reviews are publicly available. And Deborah says, I love this colour, its depth is beautiful. It seems like a richer version of burnt sienna. It's a new essential colour in my repertoire. Now, if you want to make a colour like this, you would be looking at using some reds. You could also include burnt sienna type colours. You could experiment with quinacridone golds, or even a little red oxide. This colour was made especially for painting autumn trees and foliage. Now I see it on the paper, I think it could actually be quite a good hair colour or fur colour for certain animals as well. It's really got that beautiful redhead sort of brightness to it. At number 4 is a colour from my flower painting set, but it can also be used for landscapes. It's a colour inspired by that kind of soft, very pale grey-green that you get in certain plants, almost a silvery green. And I've seen people really struggle to know how to mix this. We have plants in the UK, I don't know, I'll try and put up on screen what they're called, but we used to call them lamb's ears because they're soft, that sort of silvery pale colour. At number 4 is soft green. So I've got an actual tube for this one here, but all of these colours are available not only in the sets and also separately, but they're available as tubes or pans. So let's swatch this colour here. It's not meant to be a strong colour, it's meant to be fairly weak, but I'll show you what it looks like, fairly full strength. So we get this soft, cool colour. And we have a review from Louise who says, such a delicate colour, and it separates with a little bit of blue coming out, so lovely. And it will separate this colour because the base of this colour is cerulean blue. So you can experiment with mixing greens like this with a cerulean and try adding various yellows in. Cerulean is a blue that granulates. It's also very delicate, so it never looks heavy and mucky in the way that ultramarine sometimes can. But with ultramarine and also with cerulean, the quality is very important. So if you have a cheap one, it's likely to look less attractive. Now I've allowed it to separate here, and you see as I add more water in here, we get these very pale grey greens. Can you see in the palette here how it begins to separate? We can get a more even application if that's what you want by stirring each time you dip your paintbrush in. So if I had a large light wash of this, I would stir each time I popped my paintbrush in order to get more of an even application. And you can see what a useful, versatile colour this is. And now I'm swatching it out. I also see some sea tones in here. I think this would be very useful for painting the sea on some of those grey days we get here in the UK. This next colour was inspired by the shadows you find in clouds and also just by the British sky in general. It's the sort of sky colour that you'll often see in Europe, in the UK and in North America. It's that colour that's between a blue and a grey, super natural. And number 3 is summer clouds. So if you've ever struggled to get that kind of blue, grey, slightly purple colour for cloud shadows, this is your answer. So let's swatch it, and I have a review from LK. LK says, beautiful colour, very happy with summer clouds, lovely granulation and will be useful in my paintings in various different ways. Excellent ordering and delivery and service. So let's swatch this, and if we go quite dark with it initially, we get these lovely stormy colours, and it is interesting to me that 4 of the colours that sell the best for me are from my shadow set, and yet if we look at the set sales overall, the shadow set probably has the least sales. I don't have the exact figures, but I think my floral set is most popular. With my split primary set, I would say probably coming second, my beginner's set. And yet when it comes to purchasing single colours, people love the shadow set. So if we imagine we've got some soft clouds in the sky, this beautiful colour is going to give us some shadows that maintain some beautiful warmth. It's quite important when you're looking at skies not to go too cold with them, unless you're painting the Arctic perhaps. You can mix a similar colour to this by starting with an ultramarine and experimenting by adding in perhaps some of the lighter blues and maybe even a touch of pink. So we've done 5, 4 and 3. We've got the last 2 to go, including my most popular colour, and boy has it been the most popular by a long way. Don't forget to give this video a like, and I'd love you to subscribe. Subscribing is completely free and this channel is fully cat approved. At number 2 is certainly one of the most beautiful colours that I've ever designed, one of the richest and most vibrant colours, and yet it looks entirely natural. It's a beautiful warm green, deeper than a lime but still beautiful, natural, full of depth. When I've demonstrated this colour at art fairs, people have been so excited by it. At number 2 is Forest Shadow. Now, it's not really any surprise to me that there are 2 greens on this list, because greens, natural greens particularly, are some of the colours that people find most difficult to mix. So let's have a look at this one. Now, I can make it very dark indeed. And this is part of my shadow set, so we can use it to get those real strong darks in trees. But it's actually most beautiful when it's a little bit watered down. So let's take some more water into it. And I have a review from Jessie. Jessie says, best natural green on the market. This is from the Michelle Weber shadow paint set, and all Michelle's colours are remarkable. And there you see I actually dropped the paint pot, so not very remarkable at holding on to paint pots, am I? And Jessie also says, this is my favourite pre-mixed green. So you see it's a strong colour that can also be watered down into something that's warm and vibrant, but never bright and unnatural in the way that many pre-mixed greens are. If you want to make a green like this yourself, you'll be wise to start with a warm, transparent yellow, along the lines of an Indian yellow, and experiment with popping different blues in. At number 1 is a colour that's been so popular that it's the only colour that actually appears in 2 of my sets. I designed it initially for my floral set, so it was designed to be a colour that would add shadow to flower petals, and I wanted something that wouldn't kill the flowers, because so often in my classes I've seen people painting, a white flower, a yellow flower, and going too brown, too murky grey with their shadows, and you just end up with flowers that look dead. It's got a very particular colour mix for a very particular reason. But that said, people have found this to be an incredibly versatile colour, using it for all sorts of things, including shadows on clouds. At number 1 is Petal Shadow. So here it is, my number one colour, Petal Shadow. It has something in common with the soft green in that it has a basis of cerulean, so we'll get that soft granulation and the pigments will actually separate on the paper. This is done on purpose to give almost a pointillism effect that will stop your shadows from being boring. Now, I initially designed it for my flower painting set, which has some beautiful bright colours, as well as 3 natural greens, including the soft green. And then the last colour it has is this Petal Shadow. But I also included it in my shadow set because I'd become aware of just how popular this colour was. So you can see that when we apply it fairly strongly, it's a lilac, but a grey, cool sort of lilac. And we'll add a little more water. And you'll start to see how we can get these beautiful ethereal soft shadow colours. This colour has been reviewed by Jerry. Jerry says such a soft, rich colour that only takes a smidgen, great word Jerry, to make a statement. I love this for petals, shadows, sunsets, storms. I love to use it for everything. I love all my new Jackmans paints. And you see, as we start to water this down, you see these beautiful shadow colours we get. Now, there are lots of colours you can use for shadows on flowers. I designed this mostly for white and for yellow flowers. Now, you can see how it would make a beautiful shadow on white flowers, but I've tipped it towards lilac, and that's on purpose. And what that means is that if you put it on a yellow flower, you're not going to turn that yellow green, which might happen if this had too much blue in it. There certainly are sometimes green shadows on yellow flowers, but you can just use green for that. So this one here is designed to be as useful as possible on as many colours as possible. And people that buy it certainly don't restrict its use to flower painting. But if you are a botanical or a flower painter, you're going to find this colour very, very useful. So do let me know down in the comments which one of these colours is your favourite. I've also got a question for you. I would like to make another paint colour. Let me know what you think is missing or what you would like me to invent next. And before you leave this video, don't forget to have a look in the video description. You'll find some free stuff down there. There's some free downloadable PDFs. There's a free painting course that you can take. You'll find all of the details about the paint colours and the sets that they come from that I've demonstrated today. You can also find out more about my online courses. You can take anything from a single project where you do a painting with me, right through to full-length beginners drawing and watercolor painting. Or if you're a little bit more experienced, I also have things like landscape painting courses or flower painting courses. And if you enjoy mixing and swatching your own colours, I'll put another video up for you to watch all about paint colour mixing right now.